Hello to everybody from TVT Bead and Wool Shop. In this video we would like to show you a little kind of interesting border which is actually for knitting, which is actually called a Latvian Twist. I'm Latvian, bona fide Latvian, but I only found out that it's called Latvian Twist a couple months ago. And I have seen these kind of borders previously, but I just didn't know how they are called. So now I really like this technique because it looks quite fancy, as you can see on this fingerless glove. I think I better put it on because then you can see better the effect there on the bottom, which is basically making twists while you're knitting. And pattern for this one I will put in the comments below. We used chunky yarn or bulky. We used West Yorkshire Spinners Retreat for this little exercise. But you can obviously use anything else. You can use double knitting, you can use whatever you like. It just will be altering, let's say, how many stitches you knit before you twist your knitting and how many rows you would like to do before you start your twist. This little sample is just the color is really not photogenic and it's very difficult to see. This one is Rowan Cashmere Tweed, again same fingerless mitten, and this one is much finer. You can see the twists are much gentler. I hope you can see it on camera. But like I said, the color just doesn't show off that kind of technique. But now, before we start going into how to actually do it, so what I have done here, for mitten this size, you will need 25 stitches and you will need to knit 6 rows in stockinette stitch, which is knit 1 row, purl second row, knit 1 row, purl second, and I did 6 rows. If you want your twist even bulkier, you can try to do 8 rows, but for this little object I think it would be a bit too much. So once that's done, then you need to decide whatever you are knitting, you will have divisions. Normally the twist will happen between 5 or 6 stitches, so mathematically you need to kind of count how many stitches you have cast on and divide it so you have equal measures between your twists, right? So, and we can start to do our twisting in a second. So I knit continental way, so my yarn is in my left hand, but you obviously do whatever you like, use the technique you are familiar with. It doesn't affect the twists at all. And for this one, my division will be 5 stitches, and that means I will start with 3, because that will be half of my 5, right? And now, what you do, you take all your knitting on your left hand and just twist it around. I twist it forward. There are people who twist it that way. I don't think it matters too much, just as far as you always do the same direction. So then I have twisted all my knitting, and I now knit 5 stitches. 3, 4, 5. And again, I take all my knitting and twist like that. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and twist. And oops. Oh, when you try to do it on camera, it never works very well, does it? 2, 3, 4, 5, and twist. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now I have only 2 stitches left because I used the 3 for the beginning. And now I twist. I knit the 2. And you can see that there is my Latvian twist. So just to kind of summarize it. So like I said, you can use 5, 6 or even more stitches. The more stitches you will leave between your twists, I would say the longer knitting you would need, because obviously if you have only 2 rows and 8 stitches, your twist will be very gentle and very invisible. And just experiment, do little tester squares. I know we all hate them, but sometimes helps you a lot, and it will give you a better feel. It depends on the yarn you're using. But like I said, to summarize, this mitten pattern is below in comment. The yarn we used, West Yorkshire Spinners Retreat, and you really don't need, from one ball, I think you will make 2 pairs. And just experiment with a number. Sometimes if you want to use different yarn, experiment. And you can of course use a garter stitch as well. So now you can even change into the pattern. So you have done your border, and if you're doing scarf, you can easily start to do cables and things like that. I hope this one inspired you a little bit, showed you a little bit of different techniques. And thank you very much for watching me. And I hope you enjoy it. And subscribe to our channel. And see you all next week.